Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're taking a look at Phoenix Sanctuary, which is described as a sanctuary for personal renewal. And it's built on a pretty fascinating idea. What if the key to feeling better wasn't just about chasing symptoms? What if it was about restoring your body's own fundamental, natural frequency? We're going to dig into how they blend credible science with holistic wisdom to help people reclaim their vitality.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll touch on this search for coherence, which is really the story of how most people get here. Then we'll unpack this new paradigm they call resonance. After that, we'll get into the actual tools they use for transformation. And finally, we'll map out exactly what your journey with them would look like.
All right, let's jump right into part one, the search for coherence. And this section is all about acknowledging the road you've been on. You know, for most people, finding a place like this isn't step one. It's usually what happens after a very long and, let's be honest, often really frustrating journey.
So as we go through this next part, I just want you to ask yourself, does any of this sound familiar? Because there's often a common thread, a similar set of frustrations that leads people to look for a different kind of answer.
Maybe it's the endless cycle of physical symptoms, even when every single test comes back normal. You know something's wrong, but no one can pinpoint it. Or maybe it's that bone-deep chronic fatigue, the kind sleep doesn't touch, or is sleep that's always disrupted, or gut issues that just never seem to clear up. A lot of people also start noticing they're incredibly sensitive to chemicals, to mold, to certain foods, even to EMFs. And then there's the stuff that isn't just physical, right? That feeling of emotional flatness, the constant brain fog, or just feeling disconnected from yourself, fragmented and totally stuck. If you're nodding along to any of this, you are definitely not the only one.
And this idea is really at the core of their whole philosophy. I mean, this quote on the screen says it all. You are not here by accident. It's this powerful reassurance that all that frustration, the burnout, the stagnation, it wasn't for nothing. In fact, it's often the very thing that pushes people to finally seek out a new, more integrated path.
And that search is what leads us to a completely new way of looking at things, which brings us to our second section, a new paradigm, which is all about resonance. This is a huge shift in focus. It's about moving away from just chasing individual symptoms and toward restoring the whole system.
So this really breaks down the difference. On the one hand, you have the more conventional approaches. The goal there is often to get a diagnosis and then find a way to manage or suppress the symptoms. But with resonance-based support, the goal is totally different. The focus is on restoring the integrity and the coherence of your entire system, bringing everything back into a state of natural flow and communication.
So what is resonance, really? Well, here's a great analogy. Imagine you're in a room with a bunch of grandfather clocks that have all stopped ticking. If you get just one of them swinging with a steady, strong rhythm, a coherent frequency, something amazing happens. Eventually, all the other pendulums in the room will start to swing in sync with it. Your body is kind of like that. When stress and illness create noise and chaos, introducing a clear, stable frequency acts like information that your body recognizes. It gently prompts your own natural ability to self-correct, to detox, and to repair. It's not about force. It's just about reminding your body of its own healthy, optimal rhythm.
And even though the technology can sound complex, the philosophy behind it is actually grounded in some really simple, powerful truths. First, a deep trust that your body is intelligent. Next, an understanding that healing isn't a single event, it happens in layers. Then there's this idea that coherence is contagious, meaning a balanced signal can help the whole system harmonize. And just as importantly, it recognizes that safety, trust, and timing are absolutely crucial. And maybe the biggest principle of all, there is no one-size-fits-all solution, period.
So that's the why behind this approach. Now let's get into the what. This brings us to part 3, the tools for transformation. These are the practical methods they use, and they're all designed to be gentle, incredibly precise, and deeply adaptive to you as an individual.
It all works with a layered toolkit. The process starts with step 1, assess. Here, they use biofeedback scanning to create a sort of map of your body's stress patterns to see what's going on. Then comes step 2, support. This is where the frequency-based sessions happen, using things like plasma, scalar, or PMF. Just as an example, PMF therapy is kind of like a gentle battery charger for your cells. It helps energize and restore them.
And finally, step 3 is integrate. This is all about helping those positive changes stick, using tools like specially imprinted water and detox support to help your body maintain its new, more coherent state.
Okay, so if this is all starting to make sense and it feels like it could be for you, you're probably asking, so what does getting started actually look like? That brings us to our final section, your journey with us. The idea here is to make the path to begin feel really clear and straightforward.
Your experience starts with 2 foundational sessions. The first one is all about discovery. You'll have a real clinical discussion to share your story, then you'll get a full biofeedback scan to identify what your body's priorities are. Based on that, you'll have your very first frequency session right away, and you'll get personalized imprint drops to take home. Then, in the second session, the focus is on creating your path forward. They'll review how your body responded to that first session, and together, you'll create a custom treatment plan. Then, you'll have your next targeted frequency session. From that point on, the whole journey is completely adaptive to your body's unique needs.
Now, this is a really crucial point we need to be clear on. It's so important to understand the role of this work. As the disclaimer here states, everything offered at Phoenix Sanctum is for informational and educational purposes only. You should think of it as a complementary, supportive intervention. It is absolutely not a substitute for seeing your doctor or for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. It's meant to work alongside your primary healthcare, not replace it.
So that brings us to the end of our explainer. We've talked about the search, this paradigm of resonance, the tools, and the journey. And now, I just want to leave you with one final question to think about. A question for you. Just take a moment and really imagine, what would it truly feel like for you to return to clarity?